Resistance Management School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by CropLife Canada.
Jay Stovey, RealAgriculture.com, and we're here for another episode of the Resistance Management School, and I'm here with Linda Hall from the University of Alberta. Can you paint us kind of a broad picture of herbicide resistance in Western Canada?
Sure, and maybe we'll do driver weeds, because really that's the ones that are the most important. So we've got several driver weeds across the board, across the whole prairies. Really our biggest driver weed is wild oat, and it is resistant to most of the effective herbicides that actually control wild oat, which would be the group 1s and the group 2s. In southern Alberta, as I was speaking today, I was talking about kochia, and kochia is a big driver weed here. And right now, we just finished a survey, and we found that there are places in southern Alberta where we have resistance to 3 different herbicide groups: the group 2s, the group 4s, dicamba and fluroxypyr, and group 9, glyphosate. So those are the big driver weeds, and those are the ones that most growers would be dealing with on a day-to-day basis.
So what would you say is causing this? Would you say it would be overuse, or would it be just a natural progression?
I wouldn't say it is overuse, but any time that we are selecting a single population over and over again with the same strategy, whether it's tillage as a strategy or herbicide, we're going to select for the natural survivors. So herbicides are a great tool, but we have been using the same tools over and over again. So natural selection is what is creating our resistance problems that we're trying to deal with now.
Right. So what kind of impact can this herbicide resistance have on a grower's bottom line?
Bottom line can be pretty devastating. For example, I saw some fields of Roundup Ready canola where the kochia was wall to wall, and that grower would have had very little return on that field. Fortunately, in most cases with wild oat, we're seeing patches in the field. So it's a patchy problem rather than a field edge to field edge problem. But hopefully we need to get some practices in place before it becomes that large.
Is there anything Western Canadian farmers can do to eliminate this problem through management? I know you painted a fairly grim picture, but an honest picture of herbicide resistance here in Alberta. But is there anything producers can do in regards to management?
Absolutely. So there, and it is unfortunately weed specific, so I can't give a global recipe for how to avoid herbicide resistance. But for wild oat, we have several different options that are available for us, but certainly herbicide rotation and rotating crops and using our being very knowledgeable about our products so we're not repeatedly using the same product over and over again. For kochia, the situation is not quite as positive because we've really used up most of our easy chemical options, with notable exceptions of some of our newer preceding products. And kochia is tough because we don't have a lot of mechanical controls. There's no biological controls on the horizon, and if we kind of go through our IPM. Is there a biological, a chemical, mechanical control? We're really kind of used up a lot of those options. There's not a lot of availability there.
Yeah, so you did kind of touch on this and answered this question, but what advice would you have for growers that don't yet have herbicide resistance on their farm?
Well, I think the best advice for growers that don't think they have resistance is to act like they do. So basically, for growers, for example, down in southern Alberta, we know that glyphosate resistant in kochia is prevalent. In 50% of the samples that we had, we found glyphosate resistance. And we know kochia is widespread. So if you have kochia on your farm, you should never let one herbicide alone, especially glyphosate, dicamba, or a group 2, shouldn't be the product you rely on. You should be layering your products, using some pre-seeding products with a combination of in-crop products that are from different herbicide groups. And the other thing is really, if you are seeing a large patch develop, I think it is time to call out the big guns and maybe actually take your cultivator and cultivate those plants down, because once you have that population building up in your field and they are dropping seed in those super huge numbers, it is really time to find a big hammer.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Jason.